It's getting sticky. It's just really
I love
good.
that one. Like, just please, all of y'all get together. Just do it.
Wow.
That's so bad. How is he going to breathe? He's going to pass out.
They don't really make a lot of love songs like this anymore.
I don't know if your grandma knows anything about Brat.
How deep can we get in the well is what I want to know. Anything about coffee is going to get added points, so that was nice.
Hello, welcome back to the Cinema Scoop podcast with Sam and Jordan, a podcast where we normally talk about movies, but today we're talking about music. Today we will be talking about our top songs and albums of 2024.
Yep.
And Sam is more of a song person. He'll listen to one song
1,000 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10,000 times, to the point where some of his artists in his top 5 on his Spotify Wrapped were because of singular songs that he listens to from that artist.
Yeah, so Jordan's going to give her top 10 albums of the year, and I'm going to give my top 10 songs. And
I think we have a lot of overlap, though. Like, I feel like your top 10 songs are gonna overlap a lot with what I would say.
well, we will see. When I started doing this, I had about 30 plus songs that I had to dwindle it down to 10. So I have a lot of our honorable mentions that I'll do after I do the list. I like all these songs, and I think I ranked them based on how I think they're important to the music artistic industry in 2024.
Important
And
to the moment.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go to 10 to 1, and then we also decided we would potentially do multiple songs from an artist, so there's no limitations or anything like that. But I kind of tried to structure this so that it wasn't too heavy on potential people. Well, I didn't want to just do like 10 Kendrick Lamar songs or something like that. So even though I could say he has more songs or some other people might have more songs that I could add, I'll just put them in honorable mentions. But I had to...
You tried to have one song per artist, but that is not a rule.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I had a bigger list, and I'll get to that later. My number 10 top 10 song of the year, and this is kind of a cheat, but I picked something that's not on Spotify right now that just came out a few days ago. It's the Sabrina Carpenter Chappell Roan duet of Last Christmas on the Sabrina Carpenter Netflix Christmas special.
That's a great one.
When it was happening, I just instantly knew it was iconic. I really like that song. I've always liked that song. And
Yeah,
for
you
them to do
have.
the duet really made it super memorable and iconic. We mentioned off recording that Chappell Roan's basically a 2023 album.
She won't be included in the album recap list solely for the fact that the album came out in 2023.
Yeah, she had a single that came out, Good Luck Babe, and I almost put that in the top 10, but I thought this was a better song.
You know that
performance.
Spotify gave me a pop-up that said I was in the top 1% of streamers of the song Good Luck Babe.
Wow.
That's so bad. Well, I don't know if that's bad. That's actually a badge of honor. I'll take it.
Okay, so my number 9, I had to put Megan Thee Stallion on here. There wasn't really one song that I definitely was like, it's definitely this song. It was hard to pick one Megan Thee Stallion song, but I picked Otaku Hot Girl.
That had a big moment on TikTok.
Which has the beginning of the anime guy saying, I need a tall
I like a
woman
tall girl.
with a nice big ass like Megan Thee Stallion. The Emmy Award winner, Megan Thee Stallion.
I like that part.
Yeah, so she had her big album and then the deluxe version. So she had like a double album situation. I almost picked Everything's Bigger in Texas. I almost picked Mamushi.
She's really good too. I also like Never Play. That one's really good off the second album.
Mm-hmm. But I picked this one because it was like, I thought it represented her Japan
character arc.
Yeah, I thought it represented both that and her overall style, and I think the ability of her to get the actual voice actor who did the anime at the beginning was really a great job by her. So I had to get her on the list, but she's just number 9. So number 8, I have Sticky by Tyler, the Creator.
Great.
with Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne. Yeah, his album just came out. This was my favorite song from the album. I just really like how it uses the marching band aesthetics throughout the song. A lot of different flow changes and how the singers sing. I really like Glorilla's part.
It's also an earworm.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that on paper kind of sounds like it might not work, and it's like kind of ambiguous as to what even it's all talking about, but just it's getting sticky. It's just really
I love
good.
that
I
one.
don't know.
I also like, I keep mentioning TikTok, but I like the funny TikToks people keep sending me of like little Christmas movable figurines that like bang gongs together or use a trumpet, and they'll just put a bunch of them together and then just play sticky over top
I've
of
seen
it.
those.
I love that. You've sent me a few. People have sent me a few, but I think that's great time of year to be listening to it for that reason.
Another thing to think about when I'm talking about all these songs is also like I'm trying to think of like 2, 3, 5 years into the future that these will
Be relevant.
maintain relevancy. And I think a lot of what I'm doing here is like from a musical culture perspective, these songs will last longer. Like I'm sure you could nitpick and be like, well, actually this song is the better Megan Thee Stallion song, or this song's a better Tyler the Creator song. I mean, again, I'm not trying to pick one song per artist, but I was trying to be flexible in how I did this. Okay, my number 7 is 365 by Charlie XCX.
Oh, it's great.
This one I picked, there's a lot of Charlie XCX songs, and there might be another one coming up, but this one I thought captured her entire Brat album at the end. It's the last song. I also like the remix version with Shy Girl. So you could technically put both versions in this slot.
They're completely different songs, though. I mean, I know they're very similar. Well, let's just talk about 365. I don't remember who said this, but when you're listening to that album all the way through, that song references itself. It's self-referential in the way that it like calls back to 360, and then it just kind of like goes into oblivion at the end of the song where you're like, where is this going? Like,
yeah, it's like taking the songs from the rest of the album and like mishmashing them, and then it's also like a cathartic club bop where it's just like goes crazy.
you think it's going hard, and then the beat drops, and then it just keeps going, and then it fizzles, and it keeps burning, and then it's just like gets even crazier. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, it's like the first time I listened to it, it's almost like my brain chemistry changed. I was like, oh, like I felt like I was levitating. Like, there's a point in which you're like, it's just going to keep going. It's just going up. It goes up and it goes up and it goes up. It just goes crazy.
Well, yeah, there's a part where she says something like, I'm a brat when I'm up in that, or like that's the first time she says the word brat in the whole album. So it kind of like comes together at the end with that song. So, and from just the original album with no remixes, I think it might be my favorite of the songs. So that was my number 7. So number 6 also came out relatively recently, and it is Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, featuring Luther Vandross. Yeah, this one, so again, he just came out with GNX, the album. I could have put a ton of GNX songs on here. I don't know if it's, like, there's like 3 or 4 I could have put, but I put this one because it has SZA, it has like this broader appeal because it's more of a slow jam, romantic-y, lovey, happier feeling song from him, where he's been mostly hardcore rapping in a lot of his songs this year. And I think it's resonated a lot with probably women more than some of his other songs, especially since it has a woman feature. But
I think it's a better duet feature than the Rihanna feature on Damn. And I know that's controversial, but I think it's
I
way
think
better
so,
than
for
Loyalty.
sure. Yeah, I like Loyalty, but this one, I don't know, it just has one of those audio, like, weavings of wavelengths that just, like, are really well put together, and when they go back and forth with like one or two words at the duet part, it's really, really good.
It is like a very good feel good romance song. Like the lyrics themselves are like quite romantic. Like, if this world was mine, I'd take your dreams and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God and introduce them to that light. Like,
Yeah,
basically saying I would do anything for you. Like, it.
Yeah, they don't really make a lot of love songs like this anymore. Like, it's
Yes.
most love songs are just like we broke up, or I like this about you, but I gotta get the last dig because we aren't together anymore or whatever. But this is just like a more hopeful togetherness type love song, which I really
I love
appreciate.
that. It feels very like cozy too. I don't know. Every time it comes on and I hear the part where Luther Vandross goes, "If this world were mine," like, I get like full body chills. I love that song.
All right, going into my top 5. Number 5, another Kendrick Lamar, Euphoria.
I feel like this did not get. I get that it was a big deal, but everyone talks about Not Like Us. Nobody likes to mention Euphoria. Euphoria was my favorite off album from this year.
So this was his first real. He responded in Like That, which is another song I don't have. It's in my honorable mentions with Metro Boomin and Future. But Like That was like his first response to the Drake stuff, and then it was like maybe another month or a few weeks after that where he came out with Euphoria, and it just was just a random Tuesday morning, and it was like, oh my goodness, it's 6 minutes, and there's 2 beat switches, and everything he's saying isn't like he's just
fast.
destroying Drake.
And it's insanely fast, like so much.
Like the
lyrics.
YNW Melly part was incredible the first time you heard it, and like I like how he mocks the Toronto accent, and he mentions the Asian food place. I forget what it's called.
New Ho King.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like in the moment, like don't worry, we'll get to something else later. But in the moment, it was a huge, gigantic moment.
It was like a bombshell on a Tuesday with no press release, no marketing, no rollout, no teaser, no nothing. Just like, it's here. And this was pre-Brat album. So this was like my music hyperfixation for at least a month. So I told Sam this. I can rap a majority of Euphoria pretty good. It's very difficult though, because there's like no moments to breathe. Like absolutely no moments to breathe. When you're like, if you actually look at how lyrically packed that song is, it's tight. There was like, I don't know, like when we watched the Pop Out show, I was so nervous because I was like, how is he going to breathe? He's going to pass out. How do you rap this song? Like it's like such a tight song. Like there's no moments to like, it's constantly spitting bars, like constant.
Yeah, and it had a few days of itself to have its own life, which I think in retrospect people might forget that part, or because the structure of how the timeline of how things went was pretty crazy, and we can get to more of that later. But basically it was like a 3 to 4 day like headshot, and the entire hip hop community was like trying to decipher it, and this was when everyone's like reacting, and everyone knew everyone who was making a video about listening to it. And yeah, it's a defining moment of 2024
For sure.
Okay, but it's not in the top 4. We have a top 4. I'm wondering if you're thinking certain songs. I mean, I think one is pretty obvious, but my number 4 is another Charlie XCX featuring Lorde, Girl So Confusing.
Yes.
I will admit, the first time I heard the original version without Lorde, it was kind of a meh.
I remember where we were driving in the car, and you said, I don't like this one that much. And I said, let me break something down for you. And I turned down the volume, and I was like, let me tell you what this song is about. And I said, allegedly, this is about Lorde, and how they look similar, and how they have like a sort of not relationship. And the moment that the remix dropped, it was like you had the whole backstory. So you were like, oh, this is big.
Yeah, I can't remember another song where the artist made the song, it was about a person, and then they immediately made a remix with that person through what they texted about. Or was it just it was a text through voicemail or something, or responding to a Charlie XCX voicemail or something. But yeah, just the lyrics of what Lorde says and how it's just so confusing to be a girl sometimes, most of the time.
And like female on female relationships are extremely confusing to navigate.
Yeah, especially in the music industry. And this has been a very unique year because on one hand, there's been a lot of beefing, but there's been a ton of collabs. And, you know, both Charlie and Lorde could have just been separate about it and been like, that's fine, but I don't want to actually make a song. And the fact that they did make the song with actual like communication of words that were personally done to each other made it more authentic and real. And it wasn't just like, oh, it's hard to be a girl, or we don't know what we're doing, or whatever, but it's like, these are the actual things we're thinking about all the time, and how we navigate talking to each other about each other is very difficult, with potentially worrying about like how the other thinks. And I just think the fact that this got made and came together, it definitely needed to be on the list. I think it transcends all the other Charli XCX Brat songs, because the core of it was to bring girls together and not be like this one girl pop star who will be nameless on this episode, she's bad, or
She's
I don't,
a mean
I don't
girl
want
and I don't
sing
like
with
her type of thing. Yeah.
It took, again, same thing with Luther, where it's like taking a positive approach to a genre or to the lyrics themselves. I just appreciated it.
I also really think this is a whole other topic, but the album art specifically for the Girl So Confusing remix single, where it's Charli with her hands on the vanity looking at herself in the mirror, and it's shot from behind her. So one could say it looks as if Lorde is looking in the mirror at Charli and Charli is looking back at Lorde. And it's like seeing yourself in another person. Like it's very well done album art that's topical to the song.
Okay, so top 3 now. My number 3 is Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. You know, she had her album, which I'm assuming is going to be on your list. This is my favorite song from the album. Again, another song about togetherness. And another positive love song. And her voice is maybe the best voice in all of singing. And I don't know, it's kind of a perfect song.
It is a perfect song, and I also feel like it's a song that, for me, it doesn't make me think of one particular person. It makes me think of like lots of different people that I feel that like warmth towards, and that like somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Obviously, like I think of you, but like I think of Grace, I think of my sisters, I think of Elissa. Like I think of a lot of people when I hear this song, and it's like a song you could dedicate to so many different people that you're like, it's a great song at the same time. Like it's not necessarily romantic in nature.
Yeah, and I like birds too, so like
I know.
Correlated birds.
Yeah.
And she took a well-known saying like Birds of a Feather and made it into something really beautiful. So number 3 for her. Number 2 has to be Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Undeniable. Sorry for just mentioning it. It's probably stuck in your head now, but one of those songs where, yeah, it's like a pop song, and I don't even think Sabrina actually wrote it. I think someone else wrote it, but definitely very crafted for the mainstream charts. But it came out at the right time during the summer. Anything about coffee is going to get added points, so that was nice. Um, yeah, I just think as a song, it just had a groundswell of support that just kind of it's just like, it's hard to find any human to hear that song and be like, that's a bad song. Or I wasn't happy when that song played, or I didn't have a smile, or I didn't like
I think
move my
Fantano hates
foot.
that song, which is
Well,
funny to me.
that's too bad.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, you're just objectively wrong.
Well, that's why I think a lot of music critics probably put their nose away from it or whatever, but it's meant for the vast majority of people to appreciate, and I think it did a great job at that. So it's my number 2. And my number 1 is Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar. It had to be. This song is arguably the biggest song of the 2020s already. It could be the biggest song of the millennium. I mean, all the backstory behind it, all the build up. Again, I mentioned Euphoria is on my list. I believe it was Euphoria on a Tuesday.
Not Like Us on a Saturday.
Yeah, so like this was a crazy 5 days or so. He brought together all the West Coast to say that Drake was a you know what, and so it's just, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I know you like it as well.
I love it, but I think more importantly, if we're talking about like the landscape of rap beef, when you're playing the rap battle with each other, all you're doing is call and response. You're doing, here's what I hate about you, your move. This was inherently, here's what I hate about you. Oh, 5 days later, I'm actually going to do the thing you're known for and do it better than you while dissing you without waiting for your response. It broke the natural ebb and flow cycle of what you would expect from a rap battle and turned it into just something that lives beyond what you could even call a rap battle song anymore. It's like, it's a hit.
Yeah, he basically went from the 6 minutes of lyrical breaking down of Euphoria to a very personal Meet the Grams, to then making a chart-topping song like Not Like Us, all in the same week, all in the same battle. It's pretty remarkable. Okay, so real quick, a few honorable mentions. So with Kendrick, I almost picked Squabble Up and TV Off and Reincarnated. I think those were the next 3 in GNX that are really good. Also, Whacked Out Murals. Charlie XCX, I almost put Apple. I almost put 360. I almost put Talk Talk. Again, there's just a ton from, Sabrina Carpenter, Please, 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 Taste, Bedkim, Juno. I almost did Glorilla's TGIF and What You Know About Me. I mentioned some other Megan Thee Stallion songs. I wanted to also mention Joyride by Kesha, Nasty by Tanashi, $1 Million Baby by Tommy Richmond I almost put on there. So, yeah, that's kind of my songs I've got. So.
I love it. Good encapsulation. We're going to take a quick intermission, and then we'll be back with our top 10 albums.
All right, we're back, and now it is time for the top 10 albums of the year. Take it away, Jordan.
One thing I was going to mention is that there are some albums that have come out this year that I feel unqualified to rank in this list because I just haven't listened to the albums all the way through. Like, I haven't listened to Sexy Reds and Sexy We Trust all the way through. I haven't listened to... I know you have. I haven't listened to Glorilla's album all the way through. I haven't listened to Doechie's album all the way through, and I know that one's pretty big right now. So this is obviously just my personal taste. A lot of this is subjective, but... and if like your favorite is not on this list, like get over it. This is my list. This is my podcast. I don't care. There's 4 that I want to mention as honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut for the top 10 albums for me. And just one thing at the top of this too, if anybody did like a double album, a remix album, a bonus hits album, I'm just grouping them together as one thing because
Okay, got it.
yeah. So the 4 honorable mentions, we've got God Said No from Omar Apollo. I love that album. It is a great album. The song Spite is like always stuck in my head. I love that he has a song basically about Pedro Pascal and their friendship. I think that's really sweet. Radical Optimism by Dua Lipa is on the honorable mentions. Just didn't hit totally.
Just didn't have that one or two banger songs
It
that
had-
she's had in the past.
It only had 1 or 2 banger songs. That was
Well,
it.
I wouldn't even say that really, which is why I
Training
didn't.
Season and Houdini, and that's it.
Yeah, they just didn't quite get to my song level.
Her previous album was way better.
Future nostalgia.
Future Nostalgia was what made me excited for Radical Optimism, and then Radical Optimism didn't quite deliver. Another honorable mention, I Love You So Fucking Much by Glass Animals. That is a really, really great cohesive album. And then the last honorable mention is Paradise State of Mind from Foster the People. Okay, so we're going to start at number 10 with someone we saw live last year because they were an opening act to Caroline Polachek. And it is Toro y Moi's album Whole Earth. It's very electronica more than like some of his other music. A lot of it's like very digital sounding. There's like a lot of like almost like pre-internet startup type sounds in a lot of the music, to the point where some of it doesn't really feel like music. It feels like somebody's hitting like a sound board.
Yeah.
A lot of it feels very experimental like that, and I fuck with that. I think it's cool. There's also a lot of callbacks to like existing songs and stuff. I probably should give it another couple of listens because I could say more about it, but I just like what Toro y Moi is doing in general because it's like basically a one-man band type of thing, and he makes some really interesting, quite experimental music, and I enjoy that. His show, the set he put on was really, really cool with like really trippy visuals and stuff. Yeah, so number 9 is Khalid's album Sincere. That's a great, just like soulful hip hop album. I like Khalid a lot just because he always puts out music that's very, well, he's obviously got a very like low range, very like almost baritone type of voice. And so it's always very like vibey, kind of like, it sounds silly, but it's like music you should get high to, just kind of like just sit around and like chill, and like it's not like bangers. And I like that about Khalid. We almost saw Khalid at the Houston Rodeo, and it was the year of COVID, so they canceled the rodeo.
Yeah.
So we had tickets and everything. I'm still sad about that. I'll probably start saying a lot more about the top 8 because we're in the top 8, and I have listened to most of these like over 10 to 15 times through in these top 8. So number 8 is a surprise for even myself because I really thought that this artist would never wind up in another top 10 album list for me. I honestly had kind of quit following this artist because I didn't think they were going to put out anything else, and it's Ultra 85 from Logic. I used to be a big Logic fan. It's kind of easy to like Logic. He's a likable type person. I think there was a moment where I started to kind of cringe at some of the raps that he was putting out because they felt overly indulgent and sort of like just kind of corny. I don't know another way to explain it. There was a moment when he like wrote his own book that I owned that was like a fiction book called Supermarket. It just wasn't very good. And then he wrote an album to go with the book, and I was like, this is just kind of like cringy, and it feels not very well done. And I felt like he fell off. I know that sounds bad. I felt like he fell off. And then my understanding was that he had kind of retired, and I was like, okay, good for him. There's no more good music left in Logic. I feel like it's over. And then Ultra 85 came out, and it does all of the things that I disliked and does it very, very well in a way that I really didn't think I was going to like it. It's a space story. It tells a story. There's talking interludes in in the album that construct a story from start to finish in the album. And it's all set in space. And it's really, really compelling and interesting. I usually skip over a lot of the speaking parts when I listen to the album all the way through. But I like a lot of what he does in the storytelling aspects of it. And I also think that like the music and what he wrote about this time was indulgent and personal in a way that doesn't feel cringy. I know that I don't really know how to explain that. Like it feels personal and it feels not like he's doing it for anything, but I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like he's just putting out music that feels personal without wanting anything in return. And that is not, I feel like, what his other music, a lot of it was like, I'm going to put out something that's really heart-wrenching to hopefully get a reaction out of people. And it felt contrived in a way. This felt like, I've gone to therapy. I have a kid now. I didn't think I was going to make music anymore, so I'm doing this because I want to do this. And so a lot of it felt a bit more organic. And so anyway, I really like this album. There's a lot of really good, like, just chill songs, but there's also a lot of really good songs where he's like spitting bars. And there is one part where he says something to the effect of like rocking yellow flannel like Fantano or something, which I think is funny. And yeah, I really liked the album. I was surprised that I could like a Logic album again. Number 7, Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. I stand by that this could have had more hits, and I know that's asking for a lot. There are some songs on this album that I just do not give a shit about, and I skip them every time.
Yeah.
But there's like 40% bangers, 40 to 50% bangers.
I haven't really listened to the albums that you've already mentioned, but with the Short and Sweet, yeah, when I first listened to it, there was like 2 or 3 that I really didn't like, and there was like a few more that I was but like Good Graces and Juno kind of
grew on me,
and then I think Taste and Bedchem are definitely really good.
Yeah, I like Sharpest Tool a little bit.
That's the one I really don't like.
I know you don't like that one, but like other than that, if we haven't mentioned the song, I don't like it very much. But out of her other albums, it's the best of her albums. And if this is any kind of introduction into the world of what kind of music Sabrina Carpenter can come out with in the future, it's very, very positive. I think this is another Jack Antonoff joint. I'm pretty sure Jack was involved with this heavily.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Anything Jack Antonoff touches turns to gold.
He's
so
like all over this list, I bet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it, but that is why it's lower on the list, is just because had it felt more constructed, well, I guess we didn't mention Don't Smile. That one's really good. It's the last track of the album. I like that one a bit. If it had felt more cohesive as far as like from start to finish album wise, I would maybe have put it higher. And I think the next album does that very, very good. So my number 6 album is Casey Musgrave's Deeper Well. And I think this album came out on my birthday, so it marked a very specific feeling for me. I don't particularly get super happy around my birthday. It's just like a Canon Girl event to just be kind of sad on your birthday. Don't know why. Even if things are going great, it's just like, it's not that you're like getting older. It's just weird to have attention on you on your birthday. And it's weird to be like, it's my day and I'm forced to be happy. But like, what if I don't want to be happy today? And like, I can't let people down by being sad. And like, there's a lot of really, really personal pieces in the album that feel highly relatable. Specifically, the song Deeper Well is really, really poignant and beautiful. And I like it because it's all about your Saturn return and like going into your 30s and what it's like to be a full-blown adult and you're no longer in your 20s and you're like, wait, but I still feel like I'm 13 and I don't know what I'm doing. She had the deluxe version of the album that came out that has multiple songs on it that is very good. Deeper Well, Deeper Into the Well. And that has multiple bonus tracks on it that...
How deep can we get in the well is what I want to know.
It has multiple bonus tracks on it that every single one of them is really good. The song Ruthless I really like. Flower Child is really great. Super Bloom is really great. And then there is this song that if I'm begging you to listen to this song, if you have a little sister, it is called Little Sister. Every time I play it, I sob like a baby. It is, I'm like trying not to cry thinking about it right now. It is just the most beautiful song I've ever heard that makes you feel some type of way about having a little sister. But yeah, I mean, I've always really liked Casey Musgraves. I like her aesthetic. I like that she's a Texas girl, but I also like that she's kind of a rebellious Texas girl.
Yeah.
She's also like hot as fuck too. Like I just mother. I don't know what else to say. I just love her. And I'm really sad we missed her tour this year. Okay, we're in the top 5.
I think I know. I definitely know 4 of the 5.
Okay.
I just don't know the order.
Okay. Number 5 is Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. Again,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of her previous albums have been very, very good, but this is probably the first one that I can sit and listen to all the way through without really skipping any. Some of her other albums, she has good, like I like all the songs, but like I tend to skip a few of the songs when I'm listening to it. This one felt very cohesive and produced in a way that it tells a story. They all feel slightly related to each other. And she does that very ethereal, dreamy kind of thing with her voice that everybody loves so much. And I also think she's probably one of the youngest music artists right now that is just has made a huge volume of work to be really proud of at her age. And
she's got 2 Oscars.
yeah, like she's also a mother too, but in like a very different aesthetic way than Casey Musgraves. She's like hot mask mother. I don't know what else to say. She's wonderful. I'm thoroughly obsessed with her. Yeah, I also think it's like really insane just the amount of women that have made music this year, and it's like it wouldn't be a year of music without a Billie Eilish album. So yeah, I could say a million more things, but I've got to cut. I got to keep this podcast within an hour. So, okay, number 4. I thought I would like this album, but I didn't know how much I would like this album. And it's Chromacopia from Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, nice.
Um,
That was the one I wasn't sure where it would be, but
yeah. I have liked Tyler, the Creator for about 10 years now, and I was explaining to Sam the other day, I was like, I've liked him through the phases of him being kind of just like, his like comedy style is just like absurdist humor, and like, he's just kind of like a rabble rouser. Like, I don't know how else to explain that. Like, we've seen him on the Eric Andre show, and he just like goes with the bits, and like, you take it there, he takes it further. You can't really prank him because he's going to prank you back.
he's like chaotic neutral.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yes. And a lot of people have compared Chromacopia to being his version of Mr. Morale because it feels like it's the most personal album that he has come out with, because a lot of his music up into this was quite experimental, maybe not like as intensely personal as, you know, eventually I feel like music artists get to a point where they have to kind of divulge a little bit of like personal stuff. And it's felt like maybe Tyler hasn't done as much of that in the past, or has, but does it in sort of a cheeky way, or does it in kind of like a one bar here, one bar there. But this kind of felt like the first time where he's like storytelling about his upbringing and his past and relationships that he's had, things like that. And I also think this is the first time where Tyler, the Creator, is getting like very, very mainstream attention. And it's really nice to see that, I think, coming from, you know, the era of Goblin, when he's just doing stuff to agitate people, purposely to annoy people, or purposely to make people upset, just to be like, this is what it is. And to now doing the same things, and people are like, actually, this is mainstream now. And like, I love that, because I think he hasn't changed to like fit the mainstream mold. It's more like he's made what the mainstream is at this point. And I just really like that. I think he's an infinitely funny person, and I also really, really like the fact that he's a Pisces because I'm a Pisces. I think it's on the song Ra Ta 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 where he says something like, I swim good, I'm Pisces or something. And I just really like that. If you go on TikTok at all, you can just like constantly find just funniest moments of just really stupid, dumb stuff he says in interviews or funny stuff he says that like he has like, I feel like he lets the intrusive thoughts win and just says whatever is on his mind or whatever. I was very, very happy with that album. And right now my favorite song off of Chromacopia is probably Balloon with featuring Doechii. Obviously I like Sticky a lot, but Balloon is just like, it scratches a part of my brain that I can't explain. It's like an earworm, and it's like, I watched like some videos of Doechii performing it with Tyler, and like the way they just really vibe off each other on stage is really funny because they both have a very chaotic energy, and it's a really funny song. So I like that one. And it's like towards the end of the album. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, number 3. Top three. This is probably not a surprise, but it's the Megan and Megan Act 2 album from Megan Thee Stallion. Ultimate Mother. I don't know what to say. We've talked a lot about, you know, artists eventually getting to a point where they become personal in their albums. And we have yet to watch the Megan Thee Stallion documentary. We still need to. But when I say that Megan Thee Stallion has been through hell, she has literally been through hell in her personal life. And it's very, very empowering to watch somebody that is so good at their craft rap so like intensely about their personal struggles and always put a spin on it that they're hot. And like there's parts like literally there's a part in Cobra where she says, this pussy depressed.
Yeah.
Like she's so funny. Like there's so many funny bits in all of her songs where like she's like hypersexual, but in a way that she's like, I know I do this to combat depression. And like, I fuck with that. Like, I think that is so funny. And he took me to Cancun just so I can come. Goth girl shit. I'm a real hot topic. Like, she's so funny.
Yeah, she has so many good little verses in all of her songs.
Yes.
They're really funny.
She's great at doing features. I wouldn't say all of the features on Megan are really good. There's a couple that stick out.
Like Accent with Glorilla.
I love Accent. That's a great one. I already mentioned Never Play is really good. Please, please, please do something with Kendrick. Please do something with Tyler. Like, just please, please. All of y'all get together. Just do it. Make it happen. I know they support each other. I know they like each other. There's no beef. Make it happen. Like, just what are y'all waiting for at this point? I think she's just an extremely relatable, like, strong woman figure. And maybe her being hypersexual doesn't make her a role model, but she's my role model because I think she's wonderful and hot and sexy. She's like the real deal. And yeah, so we're getting into the top 2.
I think I know what they are.
But what order? I think you know what order, but okay. So the next one is...
I don't want to spoil it, but I'm pretty sure I know the order.
Okay, the next one is a very recent one. It is GNX by Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
I will say, I think my favorite Kendrick Lamar album is Damn. And I really like Good Kid, Mad City. But this is either second or third for me. And, you know, it's up in the air if there's going to be like a deluxe version, a remix version, anything like that, like a double album.
He probably already dropped something while we're talking.
He's probably dropped something while we're recording. You're right. I have like a strong intuition that something will happen before the end of the year. I don't know that for a fact. I feel like I wear a tinfoil hat when it comes to Kendrick Lamar at this point. I'm like looking for the stars to align and I'm like, he's going to drop again. Like I feel like I'm tweaking.
We're just in PTSD mode. Is what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah. But truly, and this is what's crazy about GNX is that it's fucking Jack Antonoff again.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy. I saw an interview where Jack Antonoff was interviewed on the red carpet, and they were like, oh yeah, so tell us about like how that whole process came with GNX and like what was that like being in the same room together. And basically Jack Antonoff said in like a long-winded way, I don't really want to talk about it because I want people to keep fantasizing about what they think it was like. That's basically what he said. And there's so many good songs on GNX. Like, it is a cohesive album start to finish. And there's so many good quotable bars. It's extremely just like listenable as far as not every song is the same tone. It's not just like one album of bangers. It's not one album of chill. It's like it has ebbs and flows that feel really natural. The features are all like West Coast, lesser known, and they hold their own like really, really well. Like I think it's Wally the Sensei I started listening to after the pop out, and then I heard his voice on Dodger Blue and I was like, I know that voice. Like, it's so like specific. And then I think it's like Dodie or something is on another song, and like they're all people that you might not have heard before, but it's very like Kendrick to want to like promote other artists that are from the same part of, you know, the West Coast that he's from. And I find that quite philanthropic, and I like that about Kendrick, is that he's not like, he is quite I deserve it all, but he's also like, well, but I'm doing it for the West Coast. Like, it feels very like I'm doing the work for the greater good in a way, you know?
Yeah, it was like a West Coast anthem album.
Yeah. And yeah, I could say 5 million things about the album, but from start to finish, it is an incredible album. I do have to bring up the fact that the last song, Gloria, is just gold. Like, it's writing gold. It's literally a song about his relationship with writing and how it feels like an actual relationship to a woman named Gloria. Like, it blew my mind the first time I heard it, because I was like, who is he rapping about? Who is that? And then at the end, it was like, ain't no bitch like my bitch, because that bitch been my pin.
Yeah.
It's just, it also is insinuated that it's sexy to me, cuss they ass out, and hold that grudge some more. Down, bitch. I know your favorite movie. Is it Notebook? Is that implying that his writings, like his pen's favorite movie is The Notebook? Like, I have to ask myself that.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
I think about that
That's
all the
funny.
time. Every time I listen to that song now, I'm like, I gotta watch The Notebook again. But God, like, that album is just, I mean, Whacked Out Murals is a great song. There's so many just like easy.
Yeah, we talked about Luther.
We talked about
Squabble Up.
Squabble Up is like, I mean, it's Not Like Us Part 2, basically, in my mind. Well, TV Off kind of does feel a little bit like some of the other hits that he came out with this year, but like, yeah, like all of the songs are really good. Even the ones that I don't love, I still like. GNX as a song is like fine. And like The Heart Part 6 is fine, but I don't skip those. I still listen to them all the way through. And like Reincarnated as a song, I know I said Gloria was like writing gold, but like Reincarnated is insane.
That's the best writing in any song that he did.
It's insane. He like has gone through past life regression to figure out like what his purpose on earth is for, and then has an entire conversation with God about how he's actually Lucifer and was sent here to earth to like provide music for people and not do it for like bad reasons. Like, it's an insane song, but there's a part that kind of feels like we're all in the same Kendrick cult, and like he'll be like, I deserve it all, and I'm like, I think you do. Like, I actually agree with you. Like, I'm not gonna disagree with you. You're giving some very good points as to why you do deserve it all. It's clearly an album that's just really resonating with a lot of people, because it's something you can put on and not really think about the lyrics or any of it, but you can also put it on and read super deep into the lyrics. And that's the great thing about Kendrick, is it's got, all of his music has really nice playability, but also if you want to chew on it more, you can. And that's my favorite type of art, is stuff like that, where it's like you can get something off the surface, but if you want to go deeper, you can. Any guesses as to my top album?
Brat.
Duh. It's Brat. I have been a Charlie fan for a while. We've liked her since Boom Clap, I think, and Fancy by
too.
with Iggy Azalea. But there's just something different in the water about. I mean, Crash was a great album. I really think that could have been Brat if people had picked up on it. There's a million good hits on Crash that have not gotten their flowers, but Brat took over the entire pop culture landscape as a color, as an attitude, as a way of living, as a...
Yeah, whenever the album transcends the music itself,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
You can't go anywhere without, like, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, at least peripherally, something about Brat. Like, I don't know if your grandma knows anything about Brat, but, like, I know,
People
like,
have heard the Brat Summer term.
people have heard the term. It's a
seen
thing.
They've seen the album cover art for sure.
Yeah. And it's iconic because it's shitty and it's lo-fi and it's just Arial font on blown up and pixelated. And like, I could say a million things about Brat, but I really like how authentic it is. It feels like this is who Charlie has always been and people are just now realizing it. And it also kind of feels like this was just the right moment for her to blow up. And I mean, she's been around forever making music and has always been pretty true to herself as far as what she puts out. But I think there was an interview with her that she said all of the lyrics on Brat, she didn't try to like finesse or like make them sound fancier than they were. Anything she put in the album lyrically was just something she felt comfortable texting someone else. And I love that because, and again, I think this is another great example of an album that on the surface is a great just dance pop. It's great hyper pop album. But if you dig further, there is kind of like a lot of depth to it. And like, Think About It All the Time is a great track to like really dig into like existentialism and like, do I start a family now? Do I settle down? Do I like to be on my own? And like, I mean, I have a kid already, but like I can relate to being like, do I want to have a second kid? Do I like this freedom of just having one kid? And like, what am I supposed to do with my life? And then I think the track So I is also really great. And the remix is really great too, because they add more verses that are just like very specific snapshots in time of like her and Sophie's relationship, who Sophie was a friend of hers that died. And Charlie has like regrets about not having spent more time with this friend. And like, you wouldn't picture, like if you have never listened to Brat and you were to think about the album, you wouldn't conceptualize that could be a song on there, or that, Think About It All the Time could be on there, like as a concept. But they're sprinkled in the album in ways that feel very natural. And I mean, and again, Girl So Confusing is a great song about like complicated girl relationships. And I think the remix album is incredible. It's like basically a whole new album. It could have had its own spot, but that kind of feels wrong to,
Yeah.
But I mean, every single song remixed, every single song except Hello Goodbye. I'm still mad about that. But like with great artists, like I know you don't particularly like the Apple version, but I love that version with Japanese House. It really like highlights the Japanese House style. I obviously really like the 1975 version of,
Let's say something stupid.
yeah, because it's quite specific to that 1975 sound, especially the sound. It's a very specific, like Brief Inquiry type sound. And Bon Iver, like there's so many good ones. And then Guess is kind of iconic with Billie Eilish.
Yeah, I almost put that on my song list too, but
I mean,
Kesha with Spring Breakers.
so good. Like, it's just an incredible album. The remix album is so cool because like She could literally do an entire second remix album and be like, we're going to remix the remixes. And I would be like, nom, 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 nom. Like, I'd eat it up. I would eat it all up. Like, you could literally just continue to remix the songs into oblivion, and I would be perfectly fine with that for the rest of my life if that's all the music she came out with. Because I think it's really cool how you can take a song and just remix it and make it new while it references itself, but it does still feel completely new. And yeah, I mean, again, I could talk about Brat forever. If you see me on the street in real life, please just don't ask me about Brat because I won't shut up about it. Like, we're gonna go see her in April. I'm really excited about that.
Got some tickets.
Got some tickets. I'm very, very excited about that. I have to come up with a good outfit. But Brat Summer Forever. I don't think it ever. Forget Broadham, Brinter. Forget. It's just Brat Summer Forever. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. I mean, I have a lot else to say, but I will keep it short because, like I said, I could talk.
Well, I like your list, and I'm glad we took some time to talk some music for the year. And thank you for listening.
If anybody else drops an album after we've recorded this,
It's not our fault.
it's not our fault.
Bye.
Bye.